let's look at the Texas side of stuff, south of the Red River, to see what you think what 26 has in store for the Longhorns.
Like we've said, really similar alignments when it comes to how our seasons unfold. We both start with, we'll say, cupcake-esque teams. I think yours is a little softer than ours. We have Texas State right down the road from Austin and San Marcos, but they are coming up to DKR, and I just don't think the Texas State Bobcats stand a chance. I'm sure even you could admit Texas will win that one. Then we host Ohio State. Big-time matchup, has ruined our lives for the last few years, but I just don't think Ryan Day can find that consistency against a team like Texas, and I think the Horns can beat the Buckeyes this year. I mean, they've had our number the last 2 years, and they ruined it. They ruined our season at the very beginning last year, but I think Sark has figured some things out. He's brought in a lot of talent, and I think Texas beats Ohio State in week 2. What about you?
Not so fast. I think even though it's in Austin, I mean, we don't ever get to experience that home field advantage, but does anyone really experience a home field advantage in Austin? Does it exist? So I don't think that makes a difference. I think these are two very talented rosters with a lot of money spent. I think one, though, is a proven talented roster, and we've actually seen it from them. So I'm going to go with the Buckeyes to start Texas at 1-1.
All right,
Texas fans are going to get the schedule.
And then in week 3, just like y'all, we host an easier team. We host the UTSA Roadrunners. They're equivalent with UTEP, and I just think Texas can blow them out of the water. It'll be, even if we lose to Ohio State, it'll get us off on the right foot again right before SEC play kicks off. And we get to visit Rocky Top and play the Tennessee Volunteers. Luckily, it's not a night game. And I just think Tennessee is a little overrated. They have had all the talent. They keep falling short. Josh Heupel hasn't really proven that he can do it with this program, and I think that Texas can beat the Vols even on the road. And it'll be nice to go into the bye week with a win as y'all go into it with a loss to Georgia.
I definitely think you'll be nervous during that game, but I do think Josh Heupel is still a year away from having another playoff team. I mean, he just named a starting quarterback, and I think the future's bright for him. I like Josh Heupel as a head coach, but yeah, I don't think this is a year for them to pull off something like that.
Yeah, and then we get to enjoy the bye week. There's a lot of stuff going on in Austin, but 2 weeks after Tennessee, we get to drive up to Dallas for the Red River rivalry. And I think this is going to be a defensive-heavy game, even though we have offensive weapons on both sides of the river this year. Even with Mateer and Manning slinging the ball, even with the talented running backs and wideouts that Sark brought in this season, I think Oklahoma scores a couple of touchdowns, and I think Texas loses for the first time in 3 years. I just don't think Venables loses 3 years in a row. I don't think Sark wins 3 years in a row for the same reason I don't think Ryan Day beats Texas with Ohio State 3 years in a row. It's really hard to go on that kind of streak in a rivalry, and I will throw up my hands and admit that I think Oklahoma wins this year.
And also didn't get the best of OU. I mean, it was a week after John Mateer's, or not a week after, but his first game back after thumb surgery. You saw, okay, this is not the same John Mateer. They were still trying to make Jaden Ott a thing at that point, which was a disaster. He was still getting playing time. And so that was the worst of OU, and it still wasn't a blowout. Like, it was like second half, and it's like, hey, this is still something could happen if OU could function on offense. So, yeah, I agree. I will also never, ever predict Texas to be OU, no matter how things look.
Okay. Now that the nausea has passed, similar to you, Texas doesn't have exactly an easy SEC schedule, but it does have one that it can easily win. If we stay healthy, if Sark calls all the right plays, Texas could easily finish 11-1. We host Florida. I think we beat them. We do not lose to the Florida Gators 2 years in a row. We host Ole Miss. I think we beat them. They just lost their head coach. Yes, they have a lot of the same players. Yes, it's the same system virtually, but without Lane Kiffin, They're not winning on the road at Texas in year one. We beat Mississippi State. We beat, as we agree, the overrated Missouri Tigers. Then we get to Death Valley, and we have to face Lane Kiffin and LSU. I think Texas can beat the Tigers. I don't think it will be easy. I think there will be a lot of injuries on both sides of the ball, which is the last thing we want towards the end of the season. But I think because of Sark and Manning's familiarity with each other, with the system, they can beat Sam Leavitt and Lane Kiffin and an entirely rebuilt program. So if you have things to say, I'll give you your time.
I do think that the hype starts to build again. Florida at home. Again, we both think Ole Miss is going to slip a little bit with no Lane. I think that's a win. I like Jeff Lebby and the way he's taken that program, but they're the bottom of the SEC. Mississippi State is. Again, overhyped Texas or overhyped Missouri. So we're like, hey, they're on a roll. But I do think you go to Baton Rouge. It's going to be a night game. It's Lane Kiffin. I don't see. And again, I heard how many times I could hear the doubt in your voice. So that kind of confirmed. Like I was kind of toss up, but I'm like, if Sam's doubting this game, I feel more confident now picking LSU to beat Texas.
You were grasping at straws.
You're now. I mean, the 9-3 maybe playoff, one loss though. You're not getting in the playoffs. So we'll see what the rest has in store.
Okay, then we have Arkansas, and Arkansas has been the littlest brothers of the little brothers for Texas forever, pretty much, and I don't think that changes this year. They are probably the worst team that is going through a rebuild right now, and I don't think they stand a chance. Easy win over Arkansas, and then right after all of our families have been together, the Friday after Thanksgiving, we go to College Station to take on Texas A&M. I don't think Mike Elko has Texas figured out yet. I think Texas can easily beat A&M for a third year in a row, switching up my trend of not believing that's possible. I just think, like Arkansas, Texas A&M has for a long time been Texas's little brother in football, and that's not going to change in 2026, especially if we've lost to Oklahoma. We're not losing 2 rivalry games this year.